Hey guys, what's going on? Chris here with Shughead Gaming and welcome to my review slash tutorial for SculptrVR for the PlayStation VR, available now for a retail price estimated, of course, of $15 depending on your region. For the first time ever, sculpt smooth, polygonal, and cubey worlds and sculptures of any size. SculptrVR gives you almost unlimited space, so your imagination is totally free. Don't forget, guys, if you like this video, hit that like button, and if you want to see more PSVR content from me, you know the deal, please consider subscribing, and for updates, hit that bell icon. So yes, guys, this is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to kind of riff live over my edited footage here, because I believe that almost more of a movie commentary approach is going to work out better, since this isn't really a game and it's more of an application. And since the game does not have any tutorial whatsoever, I'm going to start off my video with a step-by-step but brief breakdown of all the different tools that you have available to you in this art creation game. So first off is the very basic tool here. It's the sphere tool. It's what you're going to use the most because it creates kind of your basic set of circular sphere-like 3D images. It's probably the most versatile, but it also has, most importantly, the sculpting slash carving tool, which you'll see right here. You can adjust this brush to be larger and smaller for both the actual, like, I'm going to use the term painting, but also for the sculpting carving portion, but you'll see more of that. This is just the basic rundown of the beginning of the game. So there you go, gone. So let's take a better look at that sphere tool. Here you will see me, I'm going to show you all the different kind of basic sizes that you can do, from large to small, or I guess from medium to small and then to large. Yes, I know that looks like a penis, not intentional. But just wanted to show you guys. Now blue is just kind of the default color that I've got there. You will see later on in the video there is a complete color swatch set that you can choose from, and you can also blend colors, and you have kind of a core color choice. So if you change blue, then you have different colors of blue available to you kind of right at the bottom of your color swatch wheel there, and then you've also got flat versions and metallic versions of those said colors. Next up is the rounded cube tool, very similar to the rounded sphere tool, but a cube. You can change the sizes, you can change the colors, just as with the sphere tool. And don't forget, with all of these, you're playing in a 3D space, so there you go. You want to make an arch, make an arch. You can also grab that with your move controller, and you can spin around and move it away from you and closer to you. Here's another option within that cube tool setting. You can make giant like boxes that you can stretch and pull. Good for land masses or pretty much whatever you want to do. You'll see that later on, of course. And then here's more of a particle effect tool. Again, under the cube tool setting, you can make that smaller, bigger, good for snow or mist or pretty much anything because you can adjust the sizes. Next up is the puck tool, which is more of just cylindrical shapes. So here you'll see it's kind of a long adjustable solid tube. Then you're going to see here, same setting, but now hollow in the middle. So good for any kind of piping or pretty much whatever you want. Here is the final kind of riff on that tool, and it's very adjustable, as you can see here. First thing that comes to mind is like an elephant trunk, but again, whatever you can think of, you can do. Next up is kind of the cone tool. Again, another 3D shape. Change the size, change the color, same as everything else, but all these work together in conjunction. Of important to note was that the basic sphere tool also has some subsettings. Most importantly, it has a smoothing tool, which can be used to smooth and blend 3D objects or colors or both. But I'll show you that a little bit later in kind of practical usage as I take on my art project. Some other settings you can do is light adjustments here. So you actually grab the moon, which is kind of your light source. So higher is darker, lower is lighter, and you can also obviously play with it left and right, or east and west as it might be, to adjust kind of your light sourcing on the objects that you have created. That's pretty cool. Alright, so art project time. I come from Alberta, Canada. We have the Rocky Mountains. So I figured, you know what, I'm going to do a little bit of a artistic, natural scene for you guys of the mountains in Alberta here. So I used the cone tool, made myself a basic mountain kind of shape. Then I took the painting brush and applied some snow-capped mountains there. And then I'm going to play with a few more colors here just to kind of try to blend in some better coloring, some more natural coloring. Then I'm going to switch to the cube tool here. As you'll see, I'm using it for like a landmass to actually, you know, give this mountain some land to sit on top of. So I'm using it in a couple different ways here just to kind of blend some different heights together. I'm going to use that smoothing tool later on quite a bit, not only to blend those elevations together, but also, as you will notice, I'm going to put some riverbeds in here, and that blending tool is going to become very important. So here you go, using the carving tool that I was telling you about that comes as part of the basic sphere tool, and I'm just kind of riffing away here and putting in some riverbeds and some kind of surrounding lakes. Just kind of shaving everything away, just kind of playing. It's almost like working on an art easel. You just kind of play until it looks good. So I have no idea what I'm doing here. This is literally my first time really playing with any of these tools, and I'm just applying a bunch of different blues here. You can see the metallic blue in there, and I'm going to attempt to blend these to see if I can create something that looks a little less just blue. But yeah, I screwed up a little bit on this one river, so you'll see I've got my carving tool there, and I'm just kind of carving it out and going to start over again here. You'll also notice coming up here that the blending of some of the colors on the rivers off to the side there didn't quite go the way I wanted it to, but just like blending paints, I added a little bit more of a certain blue color there and tried to get a better blue. So here I am using the carving tool and also flip the whole thing up sideways so that it was easier just to kind of carve everything to be flatter with the environment itself. There you can see the funky blue colors that I was starting to get, almost a purple because of the metallic in there. So I tried to add in a solid blue, try to blend that a little bit better, and well, I eventually just went with it. As you can see, I'm kind of carving it down. Then I'm going to use the smoothing tool, and I'm going to kind of just blend everything with the environment at a later point. But first, yep, go in there, put in some grass. I just tried to blend a bunch of different colors here. You'll see that as I mix in some different colors, the blending tool becomes very invaluable to kind of make everything look a little more natural. This game is nowhere near as robust as Paintr VR. You've pretty much almost seen the extent of the tools here. So it really is focused mostly on 3D creation, and it's not nearly the robust art program, but it's simpler, and in some ways it's a little more intuitive or fun for people like me who just don't have the artistic background. So I'm using that small particle effect here to add some sprinkling snow. I'm going to use it a little bit later too. You can see I zoomed in there really tight. I'm going to put in some clouds later on. But first of all, I wanted to use that cylindrical tool and zoomed really close into that mountain, which is like 6 feet tall when you're in the headset. I'm kind of putting in some like tree stumps here. And I'm going to switch over to the cone tool, and I'm going to put in kind of like pine tree cones there. You could go crazy with this, as you'll see in some of the actual trailers or people posting videos that are a lot more artistic than me. But for those of you like me who are pretty limited in our artistic abilities, this is kind of what you can do with little to no training at all. It's simple, but it's just important to realize what you can do. So there is a layering tool. So for those of you familiar with Photoshop or the like, you can play with layers separately. So you could make multiple mountains, copy and paste them, or you could play with the mountains separately and independently from everything else, and then put it back together and connect the layers. There's my clouds, kind of, sort of. If you pull back and squint, they look like clouds. And then here, I figured I'd give you a little bit of a sunset. I also noticed if you flip the Move controller upside down, you get a flashlight. So if you wanted to, I guess, look at things up close and keep it kind of with a night setting, you got a flashlight. Kind of cool, kind of pointless, but kind of cool. So you can see it's kind of coming together now, especially when you dim the lights a little bit and it looks a little bit more natural. You will also notice here that after I'd kind of finished this lake that I wanted to add, do a little more blending, a little more carving, I finally found out what the rocket tool was used for. And you'll see that coming up very shortly. But first, like any great artiste, I must sign my name. But before we get to that, guys, this game is not Cool Paintr. It's a little bit easier to get into, but it's a lot less robust. And for the price of about $15 American, it's cheaper than Cool Paintr, but only by about $5. So if you want an art program, and you want one art program, go with Cool Paintr VR. As always, guys, you know I rate games on a buy, wait for a sale, or burn it to the ground. SculptrVR is definitely a wait for a sale. If you need one art program in your life, it should definitely be Cool Paintr VR. It is a lot more robust. It seems to have a lot more incoming content. It's definitely the art program to have. But SculptrVR is fun, and it's a little bit easier to get into, especially for the less artistic people. So if you want something a little bit easier to get into, SculptrVR might be for you. But for the rest of you guys looking for an art program, I say wait for a sale to try this game out. It's fun, but it's lacking a lot of the content that you'll see in Cool Paintr VR. Anyways, guys, that's it for me. Hope you enjoyed my little tutorial / review session. I will catch you on my next video.